Oh, you are live.
Yeah, people can hear us.
Okay, dope.
But they can also see the artwork, the beautiful artwork.
There we go. Yeah, now we're live.
Very talented artist.
Totally. Look at that.
That's
Thick
incredible.
tattoo. That too. He looks angry.
Which one? I don't think so.
The octopus thing.
I don't think that looked angry at all.
Looks a little
That
angry.
one looks more angry.
Well, because he's stabbing a tiger. That
everyone's a little
dope.
angry.
Super dope.
I like angry.
Yeah. I love that one. That's dope. I for sure would get
Rae
that.
Rae's gonna comment on everyone.
Yeah. Ooh, that's
I thought you would like that one.
Yeah, that's dope too.
Yeah.
Just they're all dope. Yeah. Oh, he's like a predator. Predator? No. What's
Predator with a xenomorph piloting its head.
Fuck
there you go.
Nailed that one.
Great, Rae.
I try something.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to our Friday night smoke sesh. I am Cupcake.
I'm Rae Rae. What's up?
And tonight we have a super special guest joining us from Cincinnati, Ohio, everyone. Super exciting. I don't know why I love saying that so much.
Because I wouldn't even be able to find her on a map if you showed me somewhere in the States.
But everyone, this is Patrick.
It's a pretty cool name. Yeah.
Yeah, this is Patrick. How do you say your last name? Seta?
Seta.
Seta. Patrick Seta.
But I've heard it all, Seta, Seta, everybody says it all kinds of different ways. It's an unfortunate circumstance of having a 4-letter last name, God.
Yeah, I like
it.
But
when my grandparents or great-grandparents came over from Italy, it used to be Castelluccio and used to be way longer. But when they came into New York, they gave them new names, I guess, to help them acclimate into the United States. So they switched it to Seta. I don't know what it means, but that's where it came from.
Just threw some letters together. They're like,
that's your new last name. Super different.
Maybe it's one of those things where it's you're thinking of a name, so what's your name? And then someone's looking around, and they see an apple, and Appleford.
I'm pretty sure that's how it happened. Yeah.
Probably.
That's right. Yeah. Take it. I'm sitting. He's sitting. Seta. Seta. Yeah.
I like your theory. I like it.
So thank you so much, Patrick, for coming and hanging out with us. Your artwork is incredible.
Yes.
It's so dope. Everybody was just seeing that at the beginning of the live there. So that's incredible. So you make that into things, right? Your artwork, you do dab mats and you do like super dope artwork.
Thank you so much. It's kind of crazy how I just used to do doodles kind of just to keep myself from doom scrolling on the internet, my day job. And then I got introduced to someone that got me into things called MoodMats. And MoodMats, put them on. I like to do really dark kind of designs, just kind of a dark theme to them. But I like to make them with super bright colors because a lot of the stuff that I sell are MoodMats, which are basically collectible bong coasters. And this is a very special one that I have in front of me here because it's gold and has some glitter to it, and they're super limited edition.
Oh my god!
Oh wow!
I sent you guys one that's a super limited edition one. I think I have it over here. I'll grab it real quick.
We're very excited. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, we're so excited to receive it.
But I did a pink Ouija board, and I might be able to have. What? Yeah, so this one hasn't been released yet, but you can't really see it in this light, but
you can kind of see it.
That's sick. So you sent us one of those, the Ouija board?
Yeah, I think I sent you 2 things. So one of them is a Ouija board, which is there's only 10 of them made. A lot of these people, when they collect the MoodMats, they kind of treat them like Pokemon baseball cards. So people will buy them up or scalp them or resell them on the market. I think this gold one is worth up to $500, I think, right now. People go crazy for them, which is crazy because it's made out of upcycled wetsuits. So it's good for the environment. But then you just print the designs on top of the upcycled wetsuits, and they're all glow in the dark UV. And then, yeah, people collect them. They're meant for bongs and heady glass, but a lot of people will hang them up on the walls or, like I said, like trade them and stuff. So it's a really niche market. Like, you don't know exactly what they are until you physically see them. And then you're like, this is pretty cool. It's
That's
pretty
really
cool.
cool.
And there's a lot of history and lore behind it, too. You know, like the heady market right now has been taking a hard hit when it comes to like glass blowers. I don't know if you've heard about that or seen that, but
yeah,
it's just, you know, glass is expensive and we live in expensive times.
yes.
And MoodMats, yeah, they might be worth a lot like the one I showed you, but I don't sell them for that much. And people love cheap accessories that they can put into their stuff and still have some value behind it too. So that's just one of the things that I do. I also do artwork for the U.S. military from time to time, which is a weird
Are those
thing that
badges? The
fucking
badges that you
do.
sent?
So
Yes.
these things are called challenge coins. Also, like an extremely niche market where basically, like, people in the military, they'll go out for a drink or something and with their buddies, and whoever doesn't have the challenge coin owes everybody a drink. So people carry them around, and they are heavy too. Like, these things, this could be used as like a freaking sledgehammer ninja star. Like, this could probably hurt someone. But they're a lot of fun. Yeah, so that's just some of the art that I like to do. But mostly, actually, today's actually a very special day for me. And you can stop me from rambling at any time. I could talk forever.
Please ramble. Please ramble.
But today's a special day for me because I just made the transition to going into art full time. I actually just left the corporate world for good. I'm going into tattooing. I just started an apprenticeship, so I'm very excited to just keep pushing forward when it comes to like art, MoodMats, challenge coins, and doing the sacred art of tattooing. Like, I can't wait to be a part of it. So today's a good day to celebrate.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Thank you.
That's incredible. Anytime that you can actually transition into a full-time passion of yours and like make a living out of that, that's incredible. That's like what everybody dreams about. So it's incredible.
I will say, like, the tattooing itself, even though I'm like loving every second of it, it's like I have to start completely over. It's a completely I'm usually I started with like fine tip Sharpie, fine line work, kind of geometric designs with like nostalgia and stuff mixed with it. And then eventually got my wife, she got me an iPad, and it allowed me to like completely revamp and triple my speed on stuff. And that's most of the art you see now, which is digital. So when I do like tattooing, like I have to you have tattoos, I got tattoos, so you know that you have to have laser precision when it comes to that stuff, and it is like a sacred art. Like, I take it absolutely so serious. But when you see every fuck up, when you're doing a design, you see every little fuck up, dude. And I'll tell you something interesting about tattooing is that 80% of tattooing is just fixing your mistakes. The whole time. The whole time. Every time you get a tattoo, you're like, this looks amazing. I bet the tattoo artist is thinking, I fucked something up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. For sure.
Yeah.
It's definitely a fuck up
for a free touch up. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So
I would. That's so much. That's crazy though too, because you're like putting something permanent on somebody. So it's like that's a stress. Like I could like I'm at the point now where I'm like, you can tattoo whatever you want on me because I'm pretty loaded, right?
Well, but I recently saw that you did tattoo, or was that you that tattooed your artwork on someone, or was that somebody else that tattooed your artwork? Like, wasn't it almost a full sleeve?
Yeah,
on someone.
I mean, I've been doing art for so long now at this point that, you know, a lot of people will. I actually got my start on. So I've done a lot of different. My art. The way that I think about it's hard to explain. This is so hard to explain. But let's say I'm all 100% in on my passions. But when it comes to my passions, it's like usually coming up with like some sort of artsy kind of thing like that. When it came to like music, I put my 110% into that. Then I went into podcasting, so my art would transition into different types of hobbies or professions, things that I would just like dabble my feet into. But right now is like just straight up art. And the way that I honestly got my start with it was I would just share you know what Reddit is? I'm assuming it's a website online. I would share some stuff on Reddit, like on certain subreddits, and they would go viral. And then people would come in and like message me, and I would just get commissions all the time off of posts. Like I'll post something and it would get like 18,000K or 18K like upvotes, and then it will get deleted because it gets popular too fast, which is so stupid.
What?
I could tell you so much drama about Reddit. So I've had like a couple of posts go viral. I don't use it so much anymore because I think it's kind of toxic. It can be so negative sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Hence why I draw all the time, so I don't doom scroll and stuff like that. But there is like this exclusive club for people that go viral on Reddit, and I forgot what it's called off the top of my head, but only people that had like over like 100,000 like karma could get into it. And it was like the dumbest fucking subreddit I've ever been a part of, because it's all these like people who just want to be, they're all narcissistic and they're all just sharing like selfies of themselves, and like no one gives a shit. But you only could be there is if you did really well with like your posts on Reddit. It's fascinating.
Okay.
But I would get people that would hit me up for art all the time with Reddit, and then someone asked me, "What's a MoodMat? Or you have any MoodMats?" And all you got to do to figure out like where you're going in life is you just got to ask. You just got to ask someone. I mean, you always shoot your shots, dude, because you never know where it's going to take you. So always shoot your shot. So I hit this guy up, and I was like, "What is that?" And then he got me invited to a group. I met certain people, and now I'm able to have a career off of it. So it's just crazy where life can take you just by asking, what is that? What is that? You know? So
always being open to things.
Yeah.
Just like saying yes to things, and like, totally not being scared, just trying to push past those boundaries.
For sure. So you also said you're a podcaster. Do you still do that?
Yeah. I do. Well, I do one.
Called?
So I've done a couple. I've done 3 or 4 now. I think 3. We'll call it 3. So I did one that was called Talk Boys, which was a 90s nostalgia podcast. And we had like people from like Foxy Shazam, like just some like bands that are from around our area that are pretty big. We would have them come on and we would just talk about memories from the 90s. And we were like, it had like a theme where we're living in this post-apocalyptic world where we were all huddled up in some shack telling stories about the 90s. And, I'm only 33. So, I mean, I was really young during the 90s, so it's a little fuzzy, we'll call it that. But after we got through that for a little bit, one of the hosts got busy, and then I started one that got pretty serious and pretty successful over time called The Bastard Sermon. And that went on for probably about 4 or 5 years, 300 plus episodes. And it was a dark comedy podcast, so it didn't really pull its punches when it came to jokes and stuff. But we would have guests like tattoo artists, we would have comedians, we would have reality stars, we would have crime scene cleaners, all kinds of different people that would come on the show.
Amazing.
I loved having like people from like Alone. You remember the show? Have you ever seen the show Alone?
Yes.
We've had some people from that show on it. We had people from Survivor, Forged by Fire. Couple other shows too.
Dope.
Oh man, and just like that podcast, I've seen like the worst things on the internet possible. That's all I can say is I've seen some horrible things on the internet from that show, but it was good memories. But unfortunately, it ended after a period of time because like I had a death in my family that you can't just like turn yourself on. You know what I mean? Like you have a podcast every week. And let's say you're fucking grieving, you know what I mean? You're just going through something. You just can't turn yourself on. And then, when I'm the main talker on the podcast, it takes an effect. So I had to leave the show. And then now I took a break from that, focused completely on art, doing really well with that. And now I'm doing podcasts again with some of my buddies, but it's just a good excuse to kind of just go and see these guys because I get so busy with my schedule sometimes because I'm doing tattooing. I was doing the full-time job, and then I'm doing MoodMats. I'm married. I have other shit going on, so I was just busy all the time. So a podcast was like a really good way to like hang out with my buddies. And
you're guaranteed to like see them.
Yeah.
That's why we that's literally right every Friday night. I know I get to see Elisa. I get to see Cupcake, right? I get to see like that. Yeah.
We'd probably barely see each other if we didn't do this. And
I see like she's one of the few people in my life that's on a schedule to see me because same thing. I'm just hectic. It's busy, right? Yeah. But I know that every Friday night I get to for 1 hour get super ripped and hang out with Cupcake, talk to different people, right? Like it's so great.
Yeah. The new podcast I'm doing now is like all about like I love video. I love gaming. That's a huge hobby of mine when I have the time to do it. And we focus it mostly on gaming. But honestly, since it's just me and my boys, we usually just end up talking about fart and wiener jokes like the whole time. And we turn it into like a D&D podcast, which is a blast. And yeah, we actually just had this huge bet recently. And I think one of the guys is watching the show right now, but they had him fight in a video game, and the loser has to get the other person's name tattooed on him. So I get the tattoo of one of my buddies' names. And we joked that it would be on his leg, so whenever he's jacking off or whatever, he's got to see his buddy's name down there.
Oh my god,
so
that's so funny. That's so funny.
That is so great.
So with the podcast, though, while we were talking about that, like it's a good way to get around and talk to people. I always felt like podcasts were an excellent way to just put your phone down and just have like a conversation. Doesn't matter where it goes, you're just fucking talking, dude.
Yeah.
And it's just so fucking refreshing, and it's nice, and you have such a good time. You can get surprisingly deep with certain people when you don't expect it. Like sometimes we would have comedians on the podcast, and it would be like some of the, not like the darkest shit I've ever heard, but it would be like sometimes very emotional, you know, like because a lot of people, especially in the comedy world or tattoo world, we got some baggage, you know, we got a lot of baggage, and we use a lot of our personality to kind of cover up that baggage a little bit, I would say.
Yeah.
And we would always talk about some crazy shit. You think you'd have someone come in and be hilarious time, but then you're all talking about some deep shit, and you're like, oh my God, I left with something here today.
For sure.
Yeah.
Those are sometimes the best chats. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that happens too often on this session, but I guess we just do a lot of
if I invite people over, if I
we
book
just
a
get
guest
them
that's like
right
more...
baked, and then so we start talking about the craziest shit.
Yeah.
Or we do too many mushrooms, and then we just start laughing, and then it's like, sorry for everybody hanging out with us. We're just mushroom moment.
Once in a while, I'll have somebody over that's like an advocate for mental health or.
Oh, Allie. Yeah.
So like once in a while,
once
but
in
like
5 years. Yeah.
Rae doesn't like the heavy shit. So
I'm not into the heavy shit because I deal with a lot of heavy shit. So I feel like I want the Friday night just to be, I want to laugh and like have a good time.
Yeah.
I feel like there's too much other heavy. I got to deal with heavy shit every day. I don't want to deal with it.
This can be healing sometimes too,
especially with like everything that goes on in the world. Like I've kind of like had this new way of going about life where I've just turned off all news. I use my social media literally just for my business, and that's it. And then beyond that, I just want to live a peaceful life, dude. I've lived such a crazy life. I've done so many things. I've seen so many things. And now I just want to like fucking sit back and relax and do the things I want to enjoy, like art, for example, and shit like that. Yeah. So I fucking get that. Ruin your day. 100%. Oh yeah, dude, it can ruin.
Yeah, 100%. I avoid it as much as possible.
And you're in the States, so like that shit's crazy right now. Anyway, it's crazy all the time.
Yeah.
Somebody tried shooting Trump.
Oh, we don't need to talk about any of that right now.
We don't need to talk about any of that.
The things that happen, it's so crazy. Actually, you know what's crazy, Patrick? I googled fun facts about Ohio. Okay, because we've never been there, so I was like, I want to learn about Ohio. So apparently, I'm going to forget this. No airplanes, light bulbs, and chewing gum was invented in Ohio.
I knew about the airplanes, but I didn't know about the rest of that stuff.
Right? It's because Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison is from Maldive, Ohio. No, that doesn't sound right. It's an M town in Ohio. I don't know. But from Ohio.
You also have like the world's largest cuckoo clock.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Yeah, I'm learning something. You know what I mean?
We want to come see the cuckoo clock.
I was like, how big is this bird that jumps out of this cuckoo clock? Like, does it scare the crap out of you?
Where in Ohio? Like, how big is Ohio? Like, can we drive? Like, how long?
Gigantic. It's gigantic. It takes you like 4 or 5 hours to go across. I just went to Ireland, and I thought Ireland was going to be huge, but there's only about 5 million people in Ireland, and there's 11 million people in Ohio.
Oh, wow.
Just to kind of tell you the difference. Yeah. And also, fun fact about Ireland, there's more sheep than there are people. So
really?
There's 6 million sheep. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Literally, as far as the eye can see, there are sheep all over the fucking island, everywhere. It's crazy.
In heaven.
It is.
I don't know.
Wonderful. It is wonderful.
Wild sheep.
I would just go cuddle all the sheep.
Yeah, there was like a time. There was a day where it rains every day over there. It's almost like tropical weather, but it's like very cold over there, if that makes sense. So it just rains like as if it's tropical. But I remember I wore the worst shoes possible one day. I had these brand new white Vans that I was super stoked on, and I am just cursed with white clothes as it is.
Me too.
Oh, it's terrible. And I remember we got out of the bus and we saw these sheep and we were trying to feed them and they were just stepping on my foot with their muddy swamp. It's all swamp out there. They kept stepping and destroying my only shoes that I brought. And it was horrible. And then like a moment later, my wife and I were trying to go take a photo and I stepped. So there's like a bog out there because it's so wet. All the grass just kind of swamps up. And I just stepped like, it felt like my foot went a foot deep into the mud with this white shoe. And it was just like, terrible.
Did you see that, Patrick? So in the comment, Luke Darling, Dark Mountain called, I'm your bud who lost the tattoo / game bet. Do you wash your hands?
Do you wash your hands?
Yeah, I wash my hands all the time. My hands are so soft, man. We have this joke. Me and he's one of my podcast hosts, and we have this joke that every time he goes to piss, he doesn't wash his hands, even though he does. But we always joke like, "You better wash your hands in there."
Yeah, you out.
It's so fucking funny.
So, what is your current podcast called again?
So it's called Game Pass or Smash. It's about video games, but if you listen to it, it's going to go off the rails almost immediately, and it's complete chaos. So if you like hearing fart and wiener jokes when you're talking about your favorite video games or nerd shit, we watch a lot of Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. That's something else we also do. We watch like a shit ton of those. Jingle All the Way, all that shit, and we'll like review them. Twins, Junior, fucking great. So, and then we have a D&D. We have a D&D run through that we're doing as well, and that's fantastic. One of our dungeon master, he's an author, and he does like fantasy and sci-fi novels, and he's a fucking genius. So he just leads the story so well. So you can imagine like the complete hijinks and chaos. A bunch of fucking stoner idiots are getting this guy. He's all proper, he's all proper, and he doesn't like the fart and wiener jokes as much as we do. He made a joke not too long ago. He made like a tiny little comment about we found a little wizard porn book. Like you found this book and you could say, oh, draw a picture of a wizard, and then it would draw like a huge tittied wizard or something. And he meant that to be a tiny little thing, but we dragged that bitch out for fucking like 3 episodes. We took over a whole town. We took over a whole town with that book. We made people pay taxes to look at the book, and it was great. And he took it away from us though, because when you're a dungeon master, you can just do that. Like, the book vanished,
Oh my gosh, I love that.
He's like, I'm God. I control everything. That book's gone.
You guys ruined it.
I tried to give you one nice thing, and you wrecked it.
Yeah, that's why we can't have them.
Yeah, we're definitely
and I love
for dragging things on, so we love that.
Something else I love to do in like fantasy games like that is I love to play really trashy characters, like Gollum-like characters, people that live in dumps. I don't know why they're hoarders. They have fucking mental instability, like chaotic neutral. I love it. I just want to.
So it's
proper and so nice all day, all the time. But when I'm at home and I'm doing my video games or I'm playing my games, I like to be a little hardcore, a little aggressive. You know what I mean? Yeah, a little trashy. I just want to be a little trashy. I just want to be
a little trashy. You're allowed to be a little trashy, Patrick.
What is white trash about that?
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah. Makes sense completely.
So how long have you been like tattooing now?
Probably like 3 or 4 months. Like I am a baby. Like
and what got you into it? Like what made you decide I'm gonna pick up tattooing?
So I tried to pick it up like 15 years ago, but I had a really bad apprenticeship where the guy that was doing it, I knew him because we used to play music all the time. I played in a metal band for like a decade, and I just met everyone through that, like all of my connections through music. And this guy got me in, and then he was like fucking on heroin like the whole time, and he wasn't teaching you nothing. He'd get really shitty with everybody, and it just didn't work out. And and honestly, when you're doing an apprenticeship, you're not really getting paid. And back like 15 years ago, I had no fucking money at all. I was a college kid. I was in a band, you know, like I couldn't be broker. You know what I mean? So I forgot where I was going with that, but I forgot where I was going with that. Sorry.
It's what made you get into get into tattooing. So you said 15 years ago you had a bad time.
The guy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Fuck that guy.
Fuck that guy. Yeah, fuck that guy. Yeah, fuck him.
Yeah, fuck that guy. Exactly.
So not too long ago. I mean, I went through like a tattoo journey in COVID, and I started doing my back. I don't know if you have your back done, but it's a fucking journey. It hurt. Yeah. So I got my whole back done, and it took 2 years, like 12 sessions. And throughout that time, I kind of just fell in love with like the artwork and that particular style on my back. It's called Irozumi. And Irozumi is kind of like old Japanese wood block kind of style art. And the best way I can like describe it, I actually have a sacred library right next to me with all of my really expensive tattoo books. But Irozumi is like stuff like that, where it's just crazy complex. And so I got really into that, and I started practice. I mean, I was doing art already, and it was all like MoodMats, so it'd be very nostalgic based, and then I would focus on bright designs. But then I started collecting these books and started to study like Japanese 1600s wood block, and I really fell in love with the art style. Like, it's meant to be simple, but it's also so brutal at the same time. And there's like so much fucking history behind it too, especially when it comes to like the history of Japan as itself. I feel weird when I say that I'm not like obsessed with Japanese culture. I just really fucking love their art. I just really love their art.
Yeah, totally agree. I love their art too.
Yeah, totally fair.
It stands the test of time on tattoos as well. So when I was getting my back done and working on it, I would contemplate on it. I would go to these art nights with a couple of buddies that were tattoo artists, and everybody said I had a lot of potential in it. And I thought I would just like, what the hell, I want to make. I work in IT currently. Well, as of today, not anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oopsies, fuck you guys.
Yeah.
See ya. Yeah.
Oh no, it's on our other stream. I have my brother, like we have recorded my brother going woo woo woo. Like he does it really, really well. But it's on our OBS stream. It's not on our stream. Yeah, it's not on our StreamYard stream. It's on our OBS. I was gonna play it, but it's not here for you. So pretend I played it. Woo woo woo.
Woo woo.
I used to have like a whole sound system for my old podcast, and I would play the Psycho Shriek noise all the fucking time.
Amazing.
I don't know why. I would just always play. Whenever one of my co-hosts would get shitty with each other, I'd fucking play that shit like 10 times. 10 times.
The first time we had it on and we played it, we didn't realize that the sound was like all the way up, so it probably scared the shit out of everybody that was just chilling with us. Like, wake up!
The system couldn't even mix it down. You know what I mean? They couldn't even mix it down. But yeah, I wanted to try it out, and I fell in love with it, and I think it's a sacred art. I feel like I can really make something of myself with it. There is good money in it. I get to just kind of go. I have ADHD, so I get to focus really fucking hard on stuff, and that works really well for me. And it is the hardest thing I've ever done. Tattooing is the hardest thing I've ever done. Like, you see every fuck up there. You can't really feel like how deep you are, like, you know how like you could say someone's like heavy-handed or something like that, and it's hard to tell because at least with my machine, there's all kinds of different machines, and there's a lot of science behind it with voltages and lengths and what kind of needles you have and shaders and liners. And everybody's skin's a little bit different, right? And your skin's only about like 2-3 millimeters thick. Beyond that is the epidermis, where it gets a little. That's where you have blowouts, and a blowout is where it goes too deep, and then it looks a little blurry underneath the tattoo. It's going into the fat layer. You can't feel when you're hitting that. You can only hear it. So you know how that zzz noise that you hear on the machine? That's how you can tell you're making contact, because those needles, they move through the skin like butter, and you can only go over it like 2-3 times. You have 2-3 passes. You can go over a tattoo before you start shredding the skin in half. You know, like a sewing machine.
I swear to God. So the guy that did this like kiss, I have these, you can't even see it on camera, but they're pink lips, right? That was crazy. The scab on it after was insane. He went so deep. Same thing. He was really hard into the drugs. Pretty sure that's what he was doing that day, right? And then, but the girl that did for him, that did my chest, buddy, I almost fell asleep. Her hand she was so gentle. Like I was like, this is the easiest tattoo. I laid there for 7.5 hours. I'm like, easiest tattoo I've done in my life, for sure. But it was like, oh, I feel like it's a different kind of, right? I've had a lot of different artists. So like everybody kind of tattoos a little bit differently. And she's the first person. And I was like, buddy, I'd sit here for 20 hours for you. This is how you are.
That's crazy. Sometimes it's easy. Sometimes it's rough. Like I'm in the middle of doing my ribs over here right now.
Oh wow.
Yep. Ouch.
Gnarly chameleon getting lava poured on him and shit. But it's just some days like I just was not having it mentally.
Yeah,
and
for
like
sure.
Some days like you're just not prepared for the pain and you could just get that first line. I remember when I got my back done, when I was getting my back done specifically, I remember my wife has her whole back done. So I wanted to get we both wanted to do it. I have a shit ton of tattoos. She's got some, you know, let's fucking back tat it up. And anybody that you know that has a back tattoo, I have so much fucking respect for anybody that has back tattoos because it is fucking so hard. I remember I was sitting down and my guy was like, are you ready? And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. I have a shit ton of tattoos. Let's do it. He put that first line on me and I was like, I fucking immediately regret this. Why did I fucking do this? I have to commit.
You're committed.
I have to commit now.
Yeah.
I can't just, because when I did my first apprenticeship, there was this girl, she wanted to get her first tattoo ever, and it was her whole back, and it was big-ass black angel wings, which is dumb as fuck, in my opinion, as a first tattoo.
That's a big one.
You should get something like tiny as your first tattoo.
Get a tramp stamp like everybody else.
I did my dragon, like I did an arm.
Mine was a tramp stamp of a gecko.
Was
tribal. I was 16 though. So.
My scene days. This is my scene scars from my emo days. Yeah, you know how many times people are like, "Hey, you're bleeding." I know. I was angsty.
I know. Yeah, I paid for that. That's how That's what I wanted.
I'm from Ohio. Ohio's just for lovers, dude. Fucking Hawthorne Heights.
What's your opinion on people using, this is so random, but it's kind of about tattooing. What is your opinion on people using like numbing cream for?
I use that shit all the time.
Yeah,
I think you got to earn it. I'll be honest with you. I think you got to earn it. That's for sure. That's funny you say that because I have a buddy that just started getting tattoos, and he's got like 2 little tiny tattoos, are probably the size of a Gatorade cap or something. And he's like, I think I want to use numbing cream my next time. I'm like, no. But I got my whole back done, so I feel like I've earned that right at this point. I know what it's like to get tattooed. You know what I mean? But I feel like it's also a therapeutic session because it is a sacred art. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I can, and I've also, so probably unethical, but I would always, you know, I had some tattoo artists that say, like the guy in my back, he was vividly against numbing cream. And then I've had other people who's doing my ribs, who works at the same shop, who doesn't give a shit about numbing cream. And some people
think it affects the tattoo.
I don't know. I don't think it affects the tattoo. I think if you're allergic to lidocaine, it can affect the tattoo, but not a lot of people are. But I will say, ever since I started tattooing, I have a lot more respect for tattoo artists as a whole because it's so hard and you have to constantly stretch the skin. There's called a 3-point stretch, and you got to like use your finger, your palm, and then you use your pinky, and then you have to balance the machine on your pinky to get a smooth line so it's not shaky. It's an art in itself. But when you have like slippery skin, for example, it's just, you know, skin's very soft and stretchy, and if you stretch, you got to like trust the stencil. It's hard to explain. You put the stencil down and you can move the skin and warp it any way you want, but as long as the tattoo machine is following that stencil, you'll be fine. You got to trust the stencil.
That's a good point.
But
thought of it like that.
I think the numbing cream argument is bullshit. I think personally you should know what a tattoo feels like before you I feel like you have to be like officially tatted. You need to get a sleeve at least. You need at least a sleeve.
I feel like everybody should like know what it feels like. I guess it's I've never used it. And then somebody had said it to me, and I was like, I don't know if I would, I feel like my very first tattoo was the worst. The tramp stamp was the worst feeling, and my knuckles hurt, or like the top right here. Those two hearts right there were brutal.
Oh God.
I like even
my knee.
I don't have my knees done, so like I feel like that would be brutal. Yeah.
Showing some like, but this part right here, I have PTSD from. This tiny little spot. I felt that in my entire soul. And I remember I made a noise and my artist was like, "Did I get you?" And I was like,
yeah.
Yes.
I just hit those nerves just right.
But I use the cream every time. My artist that didn't like it, who says, "Oh, it affects the skin," I can tell every time. I used it almost every single time after my first 2 appointments, and he never said shit, and I never told him. So I think it's bullshit. I haven't personally experienced someone using it to tattoo, so I can't say I can make an educated opinion on exactly how it is against the skin. But I've used it plenty of times. They're wiping you off no matter what because it's got to stay sterile.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a big deal personally until I physically tattoo over it, and then I can understand it. But
yeah. I just think everybody should experience, for sure.
Me too.
Everybody should experience being tattooed, not just like a tiny little star.
Yeah, I don't know if it was.
You gotta earn it.
Yeah,
you gotta earn it.
How do you feel about this? Is Rant? See, I'm also ADHD, so
bring it on. I'm all about it.
How do you feel about people? Okay, let me start this again. I feel like I used to always smoke weed before I got tattooed because it was just a habitual thing. I felt like I wanted to smoke weed and then I go get tattooed. And I feel like every time I did that, the tattoos almost hurt worse. I was like, I couldn't smoke weed before because it just makes me more like sensitive. I don't know what it is. Yeah, but it was not enjoyable.
You're high. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you're high, you're stimulated. You know what I mean? So things are going to be a little heightened. You ever like eat or smoke weed and eat a really good meal and you're like, damn, that meal was even better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm just saying you drink something and it's like, damn, that was fucking delicious. Oh, I'm going to get stoned before I go see that next Avengers movie.
Ooh, absolutely. Ooh. Yeah. Not for tattoos though.
Fucking Oppenheimer. You know what I mean? Like you're going to be like, you're enhancing the experience. So I smoke weed all the time when I'm getting tattooed. Fuck it, dude.
I do
because I'm a talker.
I can do it after, but not before. It makes it more painful.
I've been tattooed drunk as fuck before, and that is a bad idea. Bad idea. Because that ink will fall out. You'll bleed like a motherfucker too. Oh man,
that sucks.
I got tattooed at 4 a.m. in Vegas. 4 a.m. in Vegas. Hopped into a cab and they're like, take us to a tattoo shop, and they took us off the strip, and it was called World Famous Precious Slut Tattoo Company. And
Precious
so we got
Slut
tattooed there. Precious Slut. Yeah,
I want to go.
It was a super dope tattoo. Yeah, it was like,
I wonder if it's still open.
Probably. And then I got super offended because I called weed. Oh my god, this guy totally thought I was crazy. I'm like looking for weed. Okay, we're in Vegas. I don't know where to buy weed from, but I really want some weed. So I asked the guy because they're selling bongs and they have like pipes and stuff. So I was like, yo, man, you know where I could get some in the shop, in the tattoo shop. Okay. So I'm like, obviously these guys would probably know where I could get some weed, right? So I was like, yo, man, do you know where I could get? And I used to call it dope. So I was like, yo, you know where I could grab some dope? Yeah, and this guy was horrified. He like looks at me and I was like, what? I was like, and he's like, no, man, I don't fucking fuck with that shit. And I was like, you sell bongs. I just thought that you like sold, would know where to get weed. And he was like, yeah, weed, but like not dope. And I was like, oh shit, man. So that's what we call it.
Yeah. You think it would be the same, but it means a lot of different things over here, especially the boomers. Boomers definitely love calling weed dope, and dope is definitely not weed, you know what I mean? So yeah.
So funny.
That's interesting. Like when you said you got that, I went to Jamaica once. I won this like award for like a sales thing, and I went to go down to Jamaica to take like a tolerance break because I was smoking a lot and, you know, was spending a lot more money on weed because I'm smoking so much more because it's not doing as much because I smoke too much. And it's like, I feel like I'm in a vicious cycle. So you got to just cut it off. So I went there, and also I'm on a work trip, so I didn't want to get in trouble. So we go down there. It's an all-inclusive resort. And I had a lot of tattoos back then too, and not as many as I do now. But when I went there, brought a buddy, and we were walking down to the beach. And this is like all in a resort. The complete outside of Jamaica's pretty shantied. Yeah, I don't know if you've ever been there.
No.
But it's a very poor country. It's kind of fucking surreal because like you'd see like a cruise ship right next to a shantied city, and it's fucking unbelievable. It's crazy seeing this gargantuan skyscraper on its side floating in the ocean next to a bunch of houses the size of closets. And it was crazy. And like militant police, meaning like they're all riding on the back of like trucks with AK-47s, you know,
like Mexico.
It's fucking wild, wild west over there. So we were told never to leave the actual resort. Yeah. And it had like its own water
park. A lot
of
people are,
yeah, and we only left to go, like, we went kayaking once in the jungle, which was pretty fucking cool. We went, weed is super illegal there, apparently. Maybe I'm wrong now. I don't know. This was like 2014. And
I think it's legal now, but
yeah, maybe it's changed now. But back then it was a big deal. And
because entrapment is also legal there. So like a cop can come up to you and try to sell you weed. And if you like buy weed from him, right, then he's like busted.
Dude, let me tell you what happened. Let me tell you what happened, because I totally could have got strung up in one of those things. But so we went kayaking in the jungle. That was pretty cool. We went. I was drinking so hard every night, and I remember one day I was walking out to the beach. I had my tattoos out, and some worker comes up to me and he's like, "Hey man, do you smoke?" And I was like, "Do I smoke?" I was trying not to come across as like, yeah, I mean. Yeah. I was like, "What? Smoke what?" And he was like, "Do you smoke?" And I was like, "I think he's saying weed. How can I say no to How can I say no to Jamaican weed? How can I say no?" And he's like, "Yeah, I smoke, man. I smoke." And he's like, "Oh, you got any money?" And I was like, "Here's $20." He's like, "Stay right here." Comes back in like 5 minutes, and $1 to us at this time is $114 to them, by the way, in the currency exchange. It might be different now, but you could buy a 3-story house over there for $8,000 American at that time.
Crazy.
It'd be not a great house. It's not gonna be a great house. Yeah, but 3 stories in Jamaica, that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, and American is different than Canadian too. Your money. Yeah.
So when I gave him $20, that was probably like a fuck ton of money to him. But he came back with these huge, like thumb-sized joints, like they were huge. And I was like, "Damn, bro!" And I smoked it, and it's like a different kind of high over there. It's not like the stuff we have over in the America area. It was definitely more of a physical and feathery kind of high. It's definitely different than what I would explain like weed is over here in the States. And I've never smoked a Canadian weed, but you get what I'm saying. Like our area.
Yeah.
So.
He's just smoking crazy. Legit grass and dirt from the ground. That's kind of rolled up.
It could have been shit.
It's different, man. We're in Jamaica. Yeah, it's just like
I'm just the dumbass tourist that
like,
just wants to smoke Jamaican weed.
Yeah, I'm gonna smoke it.
This stuff stinks, dude. This stuff stinks.
It's like oregano.
Yeah, oregano. Some
it's pencil shavings.
Yeah.
So one night I was shit-faced. All the alcohol is paid for by my company, and I'm just like, I couldn't smoke too much because I was trying to avoid it, but I was getting pretty sloppy. And some guy comes up to me, and I don't know how to describe what he looked like, but he looked like a golfer or something. But he came up to me and he's like, "Hey man, do you smoke weed?" And I was shit-faced. I was like, "Yeah, I do, bro." And he said, "Well, I got a little too much weed. I can't take it home. Do you want it?" And I said, "Yeah, sure. Please." I forget he was even there because I'm shit-faced. And if he did come back, I was not expecting a lot, but 20 minutes, 10 minutes, I don't know how long comes by, and this guy puts this big black garbage bag on my lap in the middle of the bar, and I open it, and it has like probably a pound of weed or 3. It says so much fucking weed in it, stalks of weed. And I look at him, I'm like, "You're really giving this to me?" And he's like, "Yeah, man, I don't make it a big deal. I just couldn't take it home. Just have fun with it." And I was like, "Oh my God." And I tied that bag up real quick. I'm like, my hotel room is pretty far, so it's really late, thank God. So not a lot of people out, but I ninja my way back to my room, and I see my roommate, and I say, "Dude, look at this shit." And I find like the only other stoners that I knew were on the trip, like I knew they smoked weed. And we got together, it was 5 of us, and we start like taking it all apart in our hotel room, which probably reeked of weed, dude. I didn't even think about how bad it probably stunk. It was so sticky. And it was probably like, it was a mound of it that we had. And we had like 3 days left. And we're like, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
So we just tried our fucking best to just finish it all as much as we could. And then I had a meeting like on the 2nd or 3rd day, and I am just fucking out of this world with how high I am. And I had to take a picture of our vice president. And my company at the time is a huge corporate company. If I said it online, everyone here would know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
So this was a big wig that I was taking a photo with, and I don't remember it at all. I have the picture in my house. I don't remember it. And it was just because I was just so fucking high off my ass. But at the end of the trip, like we still had so much weed. So we just packed it up in these huge joints, and some people were coming in. And as you go into the resort, like people are there with drinks, you know, and as they're walking in, I say, hey, man, come here. I wanted to give you something. And he puts his hand out, give him a shit ton of joints. And I was like, here, man, it's free. I didn't know I have any way to take it home. I just need you to take it. And he's like, are you serious? I said, yes. And it just goes around in circles. All this weed. Who knows how long it's been revolving around this resort? You know what I mean?
Crazy.
Oh, it was crazy. I couldn't believe we got away with it. Eventually, I ended up smoking with like my boss, and we were talking about UFOs or some shit in the ocean. It was pretty cool, but it was awesome. It was awesome. Best weed experience I've ever had. Personally.
That's incredible.
I tried to get rid of some weed when I was in the U.S. So I went to see Pink at the Fargo Dome, and so
awesome.
So we drove from Winnipeg to Fargo, and I bought some weed. Like I found the first like colored hair girl that I could find at like a JCPenney type place, and went up to her and I was just like, hey man, like I'm from Canada and like I'm a medical patient, but I can't get here because like I'm not, you know, from Fargo and it's only medical here. So yeah, she hooked me up, but like I had a little bit left and I was trying to give it to somebody and he I guess thought it was a cop or something, and he was just like, no, fuck, man, no, thank you. And I was like, your shirt, like it says you smoke weed.
It says
much.
your
like,
shirt says that.
Like, he's like, no, just get away from me. And
it's
I was
like wearing a band
shit.
and you don't know the band.
Literally had to like throw out weed because I didn't want to cross the border with it.
They just legalized it in Ohio, and right around the corner, recreational was coming around. But luckily, I got my medical card. My wife just went to Thailand. And she said that they at restaurants would have actual hardcover menus for weed.
That's dope.
Amazing.
She sent me like pictures
all around the streets.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
that's wild. We want to grow. Incredible. We want to try to grow plants, but it's like I'm not a botanist, so
yeah,
it takes a lot of love and a lot of science.
Dude, it's a weed, and it's so fucking hard to run and like keep alive. Like it's the biggest baby.
It needs a certain light cycle and like lights on, lights off, bedtime. You know, the whole thing.
It's like having children.
5 in the wild. Like we have this succulent.
Not very good.
Like, we have our driveway, and we have this succulent which we can't keep alive in the house. But there's one growing out of the concrete of the fucking driveway, and it's like, how do you survive? How the fuck are you doing?
Oh, that's hilarious. I really want a succulent too. Like there's this one type of succulent. It's like the golem fingers or something it's called.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Just fingers.
Yeah, so it's kind of like it's all these like little pokey things, and like it almost looks like it's also known as like the Shrek ears plant. because the top of it looks like the Shrek.
I got to see that.
So like I'm obsessed with this freaking plant, and I probably have like my 5th one because I've killed every single one. I've been trying to give you one to like save it from me. No, you killed it too.
I killed it too.
But I probably killed it first and then just gave it to you to like not feel so bad.
A dead plant.
Is the podcast at one of your houses?
It's my house. Yeah, it's my basement.
We got to get you a plant. You got to put it in the background right there.
Oh, man.
It's a sign of the health of the podcast.
I mean,
that's really good. We did.
You know what? We had a plant back there that lived down here for like almost a year with no natural sunlight down here, and now it's upstairs and it's thriving. I have a lot of plants upstairs.
It's a pothos though. Pothoses are pretty,
I don't know what the names of any of the plants, but they're getting big and they look super dope. So, and they're alive.
I got this. So one thing I like to collect, it's kind of like a little hobby of mine. It's not a big collection, but I like collecting wet specimens. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Like you mean brains and stuff and like animals?
No, well, kind of. Not brains though. That does sound pretty cool though.
That would really make him a psycho.
No, I would totally have a brain in a jar.
A real
human brain? Not a human brain? You can't get a human brain. That's a fucking legal. That's totally illegal.
You can get anything on the dark web, buddy.
I know, dark web, you can get anything. But
dude, I found this foot in the Ohio River. Isn't that crazy?
All of a sudden, like, what?
I collect wet specimens from time to time, which are basically like animals and kind of like they've been deceased or they were
like baby rats and stuff.
Yeah, I have a possum fetus, and it's so tiny. It's like that big. But the coolest thing I have is a mantis shrimp, and that's in epoxy, so it's not wet technically, but it's in epoxy. And a mantis shrimp is one of the craziest things in the world, dude. If you ever get a chance to look it up, have you seen them? They have the most powerful punch in the animal kingdom, and they can see like
everybody. I'll show you after.
They're crazy, and they have like the best eyesight in the world. So they see like 40 million times better than I'm totally fucking overestimating it, but they could see like 5 gajillion thousand billion times better than humans. Wow. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, buddy, I believe it. Yeah, superpowers.
Like,
that's crazy.
If you round that up, it's like 1 trillion times better fishing than humans.
What a way! Crazy. Like, what an animal invention, eh? You put all this power, this like
I've never seen one. I'm really curious
into, but
now.
it's like a shrimp though. Like it's like
actually a shrimp?
In like captivity. Yeah, so if you have one in captivity, I'd go get it right now, but then you'd have like a minute of dead air while I have to go find it. But
send us a photo.
Yeah,
I'll have to send you a photo. But they have this punch. If you ever have one, you have to have like plexiglass as your glass because they can punch a hole through the glass. It's crazy.
Could you imagine?
Yeah.
No, at night, just
it's like a 50 caliber bullet.
Fuck yeah. It's like it hates you. You're just like, I'm coming for you.
Coming at you.
Buddy, too much.
That's
coming
crazy.
to hate fuck.
It's coming.
I'm gonna punch you in the throat.
Right? Yeah. Throat punch.
Yikes. Throat rob.
Yikes. That is
why I was bringing that up is at my office, because you were talking about plants, I bought an ecosphere, which is kind of like a self-sustaining ecosystem.
Yes,
and it looks like a Christmas ornament. It's got a little bit of sand, a little stick in it, and had 4 little baby shrimp. So I put those shrimp in there, and I kept them alive for like 2 years, and they just I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything to them. I closed the cap, and they survived off that. Plants in the water do this thing called pearling, and pearling is where like you see the little air bubbles on the plants in the water. That's them producing oxygen, and it just like filters itself. And the shrimp, they're bottom feeders, so they'll just clean up after themselves and eat any algae as it comes. But over time, shrimp don't live forever, and if they don't breed, it doesn't keep going, and then the whole system dies off. So it was kind of bittersweet because I just left this job like today, and they just died like last week, buddy. And I was like, "Damn, that's an end of an era."
It's a new
For
beginning.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, new beginning.
new
Yeah.
beginnings. Yeah,
New beginnings.
Shrimp had to die.
Yeah.
Sorry, Shrimp. But like, good run. That's a long time for fucking. That's long time.
We actually, my wife and I, 2 or 3 years ago, I think it was right near mid-COVID. This turns into a crazy story, so this might be a little long-winded. Let me crack one open for the pod. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. So my wife and I, we bought a fish tank, and we were trying to, get some shrimp. So we bought some, like 6 shrimp, and over time, these 6 shrimp multiplied, and we're on their great gajillion million trillion bajillion great grandkids of those shrimp. And there was a point where we had over like 100 of them in there, and it was becoming a problem. And you see societies building, and they're fighting, and the politics, and they start to, they had a disease at one point where it's just crazy watching their little lifestyles go on, even if I really want like a natural tank. I really want like a natural tank where I can grow the plants myself. But right now they're not doing so hot. They're kind of dying off, and I'm wondering if I'm at the final generation of shrimp,
Yeah.
Junior,
Yeah.
quadrillion, jillion. Round that up. It's a lot. But when we first got the shrimp and we were setting up the tank, my wife and I, we were smoking, we were drinking some wine, we're watching the masterpiece John Candy's The Great Outdoors. You don't find that movie that funny, but I love it. But as we were setting it up, we're having a good jolly time. We're laughing. We get a knock on the door, and it's a police officer walking from door to door, knocking on people's doors, and our neighbor like fucking killed himself. And it was like we were so fucked up, and it was so fucking crazy. And we're standing outside. This got really dark for a second. I'm sorry. And we're watching. All the neighbors are watching, and like, there's a lot of drama that goes on next door. We're not involved in it, but we watch. Like the kind of
like
couples
neighbors.
that. Yeah, they're the kind of. We have the worst neighbors in the world. What can I say? She and her man always argued, and their fights would go out into the streets, and then we'd have a Ring camera, and we get an alert every time there's some drama.
Too much.
Sometimes we'll watch it. And we're like, my wife and I are watching. Oh shit! And we know the whole story. They'll come over to our house sometime, try to borrow our phone and stuff, and it was like a whole thing. This is probably way too personal, but this shit was so crazy, dude. And we see that we see the whole situation. Like, the guy's mom came over and was like, my boy, this is too dark. I don't want to tell you what everything she said because it's horrible. But once we're sitting there, like, they're bringing all this out, and we're just so fucked up. I'll never forget that. And we're just trying to set up our shrimp tank, and all this drama is going on next door. It was crazy. I don't really have an endpoint with that, but just us getting on the shrimp made me think of that. How do I not think of that whole situation?
Yeah,
for sure. The neighbor, definitely.
So, like, sad that your shrimp are almost all dead, but like, end of an era. End of an era. Yeah.
New beginning. We're cheers to another news beginning.
New shrimp, new beginning.
Cheers to new beginning.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. I never got to have shrimp. I've always had fish. Like,
they're so easy.
Oh, buddy, I should have thought of
I've just always had cats.
Yeah. I enjoy like aquariums and stuff though. So like that's why I like
for sure. I appreciate other people's aquariums.
Something else that's interesting about them is like how they carry eggs. So when they are pregnant, they have all these it looks like little white marbles underneath their belly, and it falls out underneath them. So they use their back legs to constantly like keep them in their bellies. You just sit there watching them, just juggling it underneath them. And there was this time, speaking of shrimp can be really cool, man. They really are. They're kind of gross, but they're also really cool.
For sure.
They're also clean freaks. Like, there's like the aquarium by us that has this exhibit where it's like these. You ever seen Jacques from Finding Nemo, and he was trying to clean the tank? That kind of shrimp, and they can't help themselves, and they go past fear, and they have to clean things. So if you put your hand in the water, they'll be terrified, but they can't help but try to clean it. So they'll go up to your hand within seconds, and they'll try to clean underneath your fingernails. And
oh my goodness,
it doesn't hurt. It tickles. It's fucking amazing. It's like I would pay for this. I would pay for this service.
Yeah, it's like those
like those pedicures with the fish that eat the dead skin.
The fish, yeah.
I've always wanted to try that, but I felt
Me
like
too.
it would be weird. Yeah,
Me
For
too.
sure.
I don't want to be that guy.
Well,
It's always in the middle of like a mall.
It's
You know what I mean?
I've never seen one.
I've never
I don't know
seen
if
one
we have
here.
in Winnipeg,
If
but-
there was one in the mall, I for sure would do it though. For sure.
That I feel I would be the weird fish foot guy. You know what I mean? So if
It's
you do it in
just
the mall,
as weird
it's in the
as
open.
like just as
Yeah, and then
weird
it's
as the
less weird
strip
because it's
trying
not
to
enclosed.
yeah.
Just
closed off.
imagine you're getting your feet fished, and as you're sitting there enjoying it, or maybe you're not enjoying it, someone that you know walks by and you make eye contact but you don't say hi to each other. That's like a moment that would keep me up at night. You know what I mean?
Probably.
I can't be the fish foot
yeah.
guy. I do it in private. I do it in private. I'll bring it home, and then I'll try it at my home.
mobile.
You keep us posted.
A bag of fish. You're like,
Yeah.
guess what, sweetie? We're pedicures tonight.
Look what we're doing tonight. It's not shrimp, it's fish.
Okay, yeah, bust some new
Fish
shrimp.
foot. Yeah.
Bust some new shrimp. Get the
Yeah.
feet buckets out.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah,
Oh my
great.
god. Oh
but
my
it is
god.
at 10 o'clock. This night has flown by tonight. Thank you so much for being
Oh,
our
wow.
guest, Patrick.
Yeah. Patrick,
And,
you're amazing. Thank you so
yeah.
much. It's incredible.
yeah, we'd love to have you on again sometime.
Mhm.
Anytime. I feel like we barely even got into the meat of some fun stuff. So
Yeah,
So
we
there's
gotta have a part 2.
There's
for
got to
sure.
be a part 2.
Yeah, definitely.
And we gotta
let's do it.
one day we'll make it down to Ohio.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah. I gotta
Get a tattoo.
yeah.
Yes,
There you
For
go.
sure.
definitely.
Yes.
If you ever come there, you're tattooing us for sure.
Yeah.
Fun. Let's do it. We'll do a little podcast, like a tattoo for you or something. It'll be a heart with a little podcast microphone or something.
Yeah.
I
That'd
love
be
it
fun.
so much.
But
Super
please
fun.
have me on anytime. I love podcasting. I could talk for days and days. I have stories for days and days. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for
Go
being
check
with
out. Let me know if you like the MoodMats, and I could always send you some more. If anybody wants to follow my stuff, go check me out on Dark Mountain Called on Instagram. I'm going to start doing tattoos. Get a MoodMat, buy challenge coin, or just come and chat with me. I'm super easy to talk to. But yeah, Game Pass or Smash on Spotify. It's free everywhere. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Patrick.
you so much.
Yeah, this was so dope.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You guys are wonderful. Thank you.
You're the best. Thank you so much. You have a wonderful night.
Thanks.
And happy Friday, everybody.
Take care. Happy
We-
Friday, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us.
Just a
Like and
reminder.
subscribe.
Yeah, just a reminder. We're not going to be. There's no sesh next Friday.
Yeah.
Cupcake's going away.
Go to the cottage.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
we will
so we'll
see you
see you in 2
guys
weeks.
in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love all your faces though.
Bye, guys.
Good night, everyone. Check this out.
Bye, Patrick. That's so dope. Now we get to see all the artwork.
Check that out.
Yeah. Oh, that's trippy. I like that.
Right?
Yep.
Isn't it incredible?
Yep. Yep. That's dope.
Really great work.
That would be a sick chess piece.
Well, yeah, like imagine the tattoos he could do.
Insane. Yeah, I really
Yeah.
like it. I like the tiger. I'm Year the tiger.
Impressed. I'm
Maybe I
the
should get
monkey.
maybe I should get a tiger tattoo. I'll get it on my leg. See that guy looks angry. Not as angry. I don't know why the other one was more
Oh,
angry
where
than
is
that
it?
one. Yeah, and that's dope too. That's would be a sick back tattoo.
Impressed.
Yeah. Yeah, that's got to be that. We should get matching tattoos.
Right? Like little mushroom tattoos.
Yeah. I'm sure Patrick could come up with some dope mushroom tattoos.
Yeah.
We're going to Ohio. We're just gonna find you on the map first.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
Bye, guys.